Welcome to the Love and Victory Show with Val, the place to laugh, sip on a little wine, and have open and honest conversation. Here you will find the tools to resolve real life issues. Unwind, pour up a glass, and get ready to exhale. Hello, this is your host Val from the Love and Victory Show with Val. And today's discussion is going to be Mothers of Autism, Finding the Balance. And my wonderful, wonderful guest that I have here is a mother. Her name is Ebony. Ebony, tell the people who you are.
Hi, I'm Ebony. I'm a mother of four beautiful children. I'm married. I'm in school working on my second degree. And
Your second degree in what?
Healthcare administration.
You know, I don't want you to just gloss over that.
Yes,
You know,
ma'am.
anytime that I find someone that is truly advancing their education, trying to really follow their passion, follow their dreams, I think a lot of time, especially us as women, we just act like, oh, I'm also doing this.
Yes,
no, you
ma'am.
need to shout that to the glory.
Yes, ma'am.
Shout that high.
Yes,
because
ma'am. I'm getting
you're
my
doing
master's in healthcare administration.
healthcare administration.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm going to tell you this, that is not just a degree that you can take lightly. That degree opens up so many doors for you, and I want you to understand just how proud I am of you.
Thank you.
And the fact that you're doing that, and we're going to get into this conversation as we're talking about autism. You're a mother of 2
Yes, ma'am.
kids with autism, and she's working on her master's. So go ahead and finish telling the people about you, and give us some real love and excitement about that, because
Yes,
everybody
ma'am.
can't do it. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I have my youngest 2 kids have been diagnosed with autism. My 5-year-old son and my 3-year-old daughter. So, yeah.
Wow. Did y'all hear that? Can you imagine as a mother that you have carried these children around, and you know, while we're carrying our kids as a mother, even as a grandmother, we're only thinking our kids are going to come in, they're going to be perfect, they're going to esteem to this. We already write their life and how we expect their life to be. And God says, I got a curveball for you. And that curveball doesn't mean that their life is not going to be perfect, but it may not be the picture that you initially painted.
Yes, ma'am.
But what God is, in his greatness, what he'll do is he'll take the picture that you painted and he'll make that picture perfect in his eyes. And so we're going to dive into that so we can talk about her perfect picture with her beautiful kids.
Yes, ma'am.
With that being said, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and I really want you to have a conversation. I want you to feel free. I want you to feel safe. One of the things about the Love and Victory Show with Val, the podcast, or whether you're listening to us on the radio, we want you to have a candid conversation, because there is someone that is going through or have gotten the news that their babies may not necessarily be how they pictured them to be.
Yes, ma'am.
I want you to share with them your story, your journey, and your encouragement.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do you feel like doing that today?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Let me tell y'all, Miss Ebony, she is a little nervous, and I don't know why, because she is a powerful woman.
Thank you.
She has such a beautiful soul. I mean, the moment I first talked to her, I knew it was something special about her, and I just had to get her on here so that we can share. Ebony has overcome so much in her life. Most people would have given up, but not her, because now she has a whole new mission to make sure that her children can overcome. So let's just dive into this. Let's talk about your older kids before we get into a mother of autism. Let's talk about your 2 older kids.
I have a 14-year-old and I have a 8-year-old daughter. Both of them are girls, and those are my babies.
Yes.
They don't have autism or anything.
So you were a mother that came from having children that were, and let me make sure that when I say this, that I'm saying this in a way that you understand. When I say this, I'm not saying that your babies aren't healthy. I'm not saying that your babies are or is something wrong. What I'm saying is they're uniquely beautiful.
Yes, ma'am.
And so you had 2 kids that came in that you had
Yes, ma'am.
early on, and everything seemingly just went fine.
Yep.
And then years later, I don't know how many years later,
About 3.
3 years later, you had your next baby. And then did you know early on that there was something
No,
different?
my pregnancy was normal. I'm high risk, but my pregnancy was normal.
Why were you high risk?
I was diagnosed in 2014 with congestive heart failure.
Okay, okay. Which the doctors let you know that had nothing to do with your baby's being. Okay.
Yeah.
That had nothing to do with that. So then when you find out, when did you notice something different?
When my son was around 10 months.
That's the first one.
Yeah,
Okay.
my first son.
Okay.
My first child with autism.
Okay.
When he was around 10 months.
10 months. And what is it that stood out to you to say something is just not right?
He went from having eye contact. I had got him to start saying his name. He was dancing. Just vibrant when you like a normal baby when you come in the room they see mommy. To one day, I told you over a week, it changed. I would come in the room and talk to him, and he wouldn't give me eye contact. I would say a little song I had made up with him. He wouldn't dance anymore. I was literally like this close to him, calling his name like Zathan, and he never turned to look at me.
Oh. He never, and before,
He
soon
was
as
doing
you
it.
enter a room.
He would look, acknowledge me.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
And so literally it changed just like that.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. And so we're going to learn something today about autism. We're going to talk about signs. We're going to learn to just really, as mothers, whether it's a father listening on here, we really have to learn to just pay attention to our kids. Ebony is going to be that one to take us down that journey. We may cry. I may cry or I may not. You may not. But I want you guys to take this serious because autism, when you're in this bubble, you don't feel like there is someone else that's going through it that understands it, or you may not feel comfortable with sharing. Sometimes family think that your kids are just need to be disciplined. When it's not about them being disciplined, they're just uniquely beautiful. So we want to talk about all of that. So when you noticed that, you went into, so now you and your husband, you're married, and so now your son is not responding to you. What did you do?
I kind of waited because you don't hear too much about autism, and it wasn't really I just kind of took it as like maybe he was just kind of but
ignoring you, not wanting to be bothered.
But then again, I've been around a lot of kids, and I just never seen that before. So he was afraid of walking.
When you say walking, so he didn't want his feet to touch the ground.
His feet would touch the ground, but like we bought him a walking toy, and he would like literally like he's having an anxiety attack. This is a 10, 11-month-old child, and he didn't want to try. Or anything. So when I would put his hands on the walking toy, he would like break down like scared. Like
when he wouldn't have a problem with a week before.
Right. Wow. It changed that fast.
That fast. So let me ask a question because I wouldn't know. I don't understand, and maybe our listeners doesn't understand. When you went to the doctor and you said he changed within a week, what did they say?
They were telling me that just give it some time because they would ask me to break it down. And what did he do? What did he do? Oh, kids normally do that. Oh, give him some time to walk. So that's what I did. I was giving him time. So that's why I didn't immediately get the autism
diagnosis.
Yeah. So I waited a few months, but then my intuition kept ringing at me like
something's not right.
When he tried to, because he still wasn't talking. So when he tried to talk, his mouth would knock.
What do you mean?
He was not saying what he would try to say words.
Nothing was coming out.
That's the noise he would make. It was knocking. His mouth was like he was smacking his mouth together. And I'm like, this is so weird. So I started doing research and I just started looking stuff up, and I decided that I talked to his dad, And he was even in denial, but God already had told me, he was like, he has autism. He has autism. And I was like, so I started researching it. I got him, I set up an appointment, got him tested. And I think it was like maybe 3 to 4 weeks. And the lady got back with me and she was like, he's definitely on the autism spectrum.
Okay, so let's just kind of stay right there a little bit. So when I think of as a mother, my baby is now been diagnosed or suggested because he hadn't had a diagnosis.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling like something's off. Now it's been suggested that maybe this is what's going on. Now, and dad is over there in denial. And then you probably have friends and other people telling you that you're over.
No one was on my side.
No.
It was me alone.
Wow.
It was
How
me
did that
by
make you
myself.
feel?
It made me feel like they were doubting my mothering skills. Like, she don't know what she's talking about. Because, everybody, no, back in the day, and I'm like, but
Something's wrong.
yeah, it's not right. I feel I'm here with him every day more than anybody. I'm dealing with this, so I'm knowing something's not right.
Not right. Wow. Well, before I go any further, I want to commend you as a mother, listening to your inner voice, because as mothers, God, and it's so funny that we carry a child. God has given us the ability to really be able for that child to grow in us, for us to feel and be connected. And then now to know that something's off, that means that you, for me, as a mother, you said, I'm going to scream and I'm going to protect. Something's going on with my child and I'm going to get answers. So I commend you for that.
Thank you.
So then you go to the doctor. And the doctor says, well, I need you to go over to, where do they send you to? What is it that you have to do at that point?
Well, in Louisiana, it was different out here in Texas. But in Louisiana, they refer you to a ABA therapy place. And
now, what is ABA for us that don't know?
I forgot what the acronym stand for, but it's almost like therapists and people who have like studied autism. So they are strictly working with people with autism.
Okay, got you. So they're actually doing an assessment of them at that point. Okay, got you. Okay.
So we did an assessment, and they came to the house, and they tested them. And then,
so they actually came to your house. That's good. So you didn't have to go to them. They came to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, got you. Great.
Yeah,
great.
and they tested him, and it lasted for about almost 2 hours. And then, they take all the paperwork and their information, what they collected, then they come back to you.
So let me ask a question. As a mother, sitting there and you're watching your baby, and here's a complete stranger that is there testing your baby. I can only imagine, as a mother, I'm hoping that my gut feeling is wrong. And what were you feeling?
I was feeling like I knew they was going to tell me something. So those 3-4 weeks waiting on those results.
You already knew.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just waiting to get the confirmation, but I knew.
You knew.
Because I was just, she'll tell me what she's about to do before she do it during the testing.
Okay.
And I will just watch. Like, he wouldn't even give her no interaction. Like, he was like staring off. So it's like a lot of stuff. It was hard
because you did your own research, and so you prepared for a lot of that.
Yes, ma'am.
So then let's just fast forward. You got the results, and at some point you started the therapy for your baby.
Yeah, OT and speech therapy.
Okay, so then now you're pregnant again. And how does that happen?
I was pregnant when he got diagnosed.
Oh, wow. So now you're pregnant again. What thought went through your head at that point?
I really did not think that I would have I don't know. I just never thought I would have 2 autistic kids and they be back to back from each other. I just didn't.
And I think that as little as I know, and so please, listeners, followers, anyone that get this, please understand, and even you, Ebony, I don't know if it's something that is, I don't know the numbers or the percentage of what child would become. If you have one child, the next child is going to be, because is it something genetics? Did they ever tell you? Or if it's something that just 1 in a million, or, I don't know. But I would probably be like you. I couldn't imagine.
Right.
And I would probably just go through, okay, this happened with this child.
Is it.
And this is it.
Mhm.
And now I'm going to have,
Okay.
okay. Is
Right.
that kind of how you felt?
Yeah, because Harmony came and did a 360, like she was the total opposite of him.
What is her name?
Harmony.
Let me tell y'all, you guys are going to get to know Harmony's personality.
Mm-hmm.
Harmony's personality is one that is complete opposite.
Eccentric. Mm-hmm.
She's very, tell us about Harmony.
Harmony's eccentric.
Okay.
She's outspoken. She's I call her my social butterfly because she has autism, but she's the total opposite of him, and I like that because that gets to show people it's a wide range of it. You can't put a person in a box with autism. You just can't.
So she has great social skills.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, and most of the people that are, even some of the parents, and I know that I have some other friends, another friend that has a child that she found out late in life that her child has autism. And so, and what really kind of started is she started having social anxiety. So what I'm hearing about your baby, she didn't suffer with that. Wow.
No.
Let's talk about that personality as we dive on through these two kids that are just literally 9 months apart. How far apart are they?
They're a little over a year.
Over a year
A
apart.
little, I think like 13 months.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So let's talk about her personality, and we're going to get into this conversation a little deeper.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell me about her personality.
Harmony, she loves, like when she meets people. So Harmony started walking at 8 months. So that's why it was a total shocker. But when she was getting older, when she was 2, she still wasn't talking. She was like still babbling like a baby. So I was like, I'm still going to give her some time, you know, try to catch up a little bit. But she started doing everything else. So she was starting, you know, but she started trying to communicate through sign language.
Wow. Wow.
She started on her own. And that's when I got concerned. I'm like, you're not even trying to formulate words. Like, and she'll have little words, mom, dad, you know, stuff like that. But I'll try to get her to even say her name.
And she
she can't say her name now. And she's about to be 4 this month.
Wow. Wow.
But she would try, you know what? She tried to imitate the sounds you make. So she's trying. So I know eventually she's going to be able to talk. Yeah.
Well, you know, guys, I want to say this to you. Every child is different, as Ebony is expressing to us now. But we have to pay attention. You know, don't assume because one is doing one thing, the other one is going to do it too. My heart is getting filled, but I want to ask a question. Now you have 2 kids. You are married. You have 2 kids that are excelling in every area possible. And were you in college at that point? Tell me, where did all of the finding time and being able to, where is Ebony at in all of this? We're talking about the kids, but let's talk about Ebony.
Ebony was tucked away for a while because I was so into, especially when I found out my son had autism. It was just like I was doing everything, buying everything, just trying to put him in places to where he's comfortable and he knows that I love him. And you know that, you know, because I know he knows he's different, especially that he's 5 now. But you know, he knows that daddy loves him too, but he knows mommy understands like
what's going
on, my meltdowns, my ups, my downs, everything. So it's like for a while I pushed myself to the back, but the entire time I was in school. I started school when Zathian made 1. The day he made 1 was my first day of my bachelor's degree. So I had a diagnosed with autism, had a child, a newborn. So I really had 2 babies at home with me. Putting 2 other kids to school, and I stayed in school and I maintained my GPA over a 3.0.
Did y'all hear me? So if you don't get anything else, if you really want to do something and you set your mind to it, Ebony is a prime example of just do it. Yeah. You know, we have to stop with all of the excuses. Oh, I have a tough life. Oh, why me? You couldn't even think about you. You had to just keep pressing forward.
Keep going.
Okay. Well, now we're going to get into, and this is the part that I really want you to just give me your honest opinion on. It's just going to be a couple of questions, and I don't really want to get deep into the questions, but I do want to ask you this. Is there a part, what are some of the challenges that you had to balance in your work life, raising a family, and just being a wife?
Finding time for myself, not losing who I am, because it's easy to do when you don't. Because it's always something.
Did you ever lose you?
Yes, I have. I'm getting it back.
I hear you say, I have. What did you do, or when did you recognize that you needed to do something for you?
When I kind of first started school, because I've been doing stuff for people for so long, and I never got a chance to even know who I was. I didn't know who I was as a woman, even though I had kids and everything was made. I didn't know who I was.
Okay, well, I'm going to go deep on you. And like I said, it's too much to unpack just in one conversation. So we're going to come back. We probably have a part 2, part 3, and a part 4 of this conversation, because it's such a needed conversation, I think, with autism.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's also a woman just really understanding when you have challenges and things that hit you, you still have to keep pressing forward. Ma'am. So what is it about Ebony that, because you didn't just lose yourself when you had the babies, would you say that you had already lost yourself before the babies came aboard?
I don't even think I ever found myself to lose myself. I just felt like I really never had an identity. Because I always from an early age, always had to be there for someone else. I never had time to be alone with my own thoughts and just process who I was, look in the mirror like, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to do? Like, those questions wasn't asked to me, so it's just like a lot of stuff. It was like a trial and error. Like, I had to teach myself things, and at the same time I'm growing up and raising kids, so it's like. So
what I'm hearing you say, that your whole entire life has been about survival and taking care of other people. Wow.
Since I was 8.
Wait a minute.
Since I was 8 years old. My sister was born, my youngest sister, since I was 8, and I raised her from a baby. I was with her so much she started to call me mama.
Okay. Did y'all just hear what she said? She's never. Can you imagine? I just want you guys to just go back into your sanctified mind and think about yourself at 8 years old. At 8 years old, what are you doing? Are you combing your baby doll's hair? Are you playing games? Is your mom over there fussing over you? This is not to bash her family, but I want you guys to go back through your mind and think about what you were doing and what was your, if any, responsibility at 8 years old. And then I want you to look over here at Ebony. And Ebony's going to repeat to us, what were you doing at 8 years old?
Raising a baby.
And can you tell me why?
We didn't have the best household growing up. My mom, she was younger, so she made mistakes like all mothers do. And she had to go to work. She ended up having a baby, and she had to go to work. And my oldest brother, he ended up passing away, but he was really responsible for my sister. He was supposed to be watching both of us. And I woke up one day, he was gone out of the house, and the baby was screaming. And that's when I just started to bond with her. Like, I didn't know how to make a bottle. Didn't know what I was doing, but I tried to remember what I seen my mom do. And I just told her what happened when she came home, and the responsibility kind of just fell on me. Like,
well, I'm going to tell you guys what I get out of this conversation so far is that plays back into you understanding it was something different about your son.
Yes, ma'am.
So it plays back into you had that unique caretaking spirit early on as a baby, because you were a baby, and then you just kind of paid attention to your baby, paid attention to your sister, and you made sure that they were good. Guys, do you see that this can't just be a one and done conversation? I don't want it to be long. I don't want it to be drawn out, but I do want you guys to tune back in.
Yes, ma'am.
My heart is telling me this is a good spot to stop in. And I want you guys to share with us some of the questions, some of the comments of what you want me to dive in. Because, Ebony, are you open to just really helping those mothers and those people out there?
Ma'am.
Tell us why.
Because it's hard, and you do feel alone. you know, because it's stuff that you don't want to tell people that your autistic kids have done, you know, because it in their eyes, or maybe it may seem embarrassing, like, or you don't want anyone to judge your child, like they did that, like, you know. So it's like you feel alone. You tend to keep stuff to yourself. Like it's stuff that my son have done that I've never shared with my family because I don't want anyone saying anything negative about him. So
You don't
it's
want
like,
someone judging your
yeah,
baby. Yes.
you know. So you get
Wow.
alone and.
I'm going to say this, guys, as I sit here, Ebony, I thank you so much for just being so authentic
Yes, ma'am.
and being so open and so honest. Are you willing to come back on?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I think that this has to be, and I'm going to share with my team, this is going to be this is part 1. We're going to have part 2. We're going to have part 3. We're going to peel this onion all the way back until we can bring some women and mothers and fathers forward, because there is not enough conversation out there about children with autism. There is not any real platforms that one can come and talk about. So, Ebony, I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I love you. Give me a hug.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to tell you guys, and again, on the Love and Victory Show with Val, we have candid conversation. We are the conversationist that is willing to go there. So we're going to go there. We're going to have this conversation. We hope that there is healing and forgiveness. And goodbye. We love you.
Goodbye.